So hi everyone, my name is Trisha and welcome back again to my channel, and yes, that's me. So yes guys, I am Trisha and I'm living in Europe. Today's vlog, I'm going to discuss about the work permit in the Netherlands, or how you can work legally in the Netherlands. Is there some paperwork or some permits that you need to first consider if you're going to work in this country? So yes guys, Netherlands is one of the country in the EU, and of course it's also a Schengen area. So it's one of the Schengen area in the EU. So now guys, living in the Netherlands is quite good because I personally experienced it, and for me I like it because of course if I compare to living in Malta, first the salary is higher compared in Malta. The prices here are quite okay compared to Malta. But of course, there are also some things that is expensive here compared in Malta. But for now, we're going to focus about working in the Netherlands and what are you going to do when you are going to settle or to work here, or at least work and live in the Netherlands. Before that, guys, I'm really bothered about something in my eyes. So I think there's like a insect that bit me, so doesn't matter. Let's proceed to our video. So yes guys, for your information, that working in any other European country, of course, it requires a valid work permit or valid authorization to work so you can stay in this country. So let's talk in general, like if you're going to work, for example, in Malta, you also need a work permit there to apply first before you can move there. And when you arrive there, you can get your temporary residence permit. Also, it applies to other country, or at least other European countries. So they have just like one standard law when it comes to getting a work permit. The only thing that differs maybe is some other requirements that may be a little bit more here, or there are some paperwork that you need to get compare in country. So also, for example, if you want to go into other EU country, like for example here Netherlands, Germany, Spain, or whatever, you can also get your work permit, and of course that's the most important because why? We are belong to the non-EU country, so meaning to say if we are going to go into one of the EU country, we need a work permit because we are not authorized to work here freely. Therefore, your employer must apply for your permission to work. So that's what we call work permit. The question is, how can your employer apply for your work permit? So first guys, any employer in any EU country, Malta, Netherlands, any European country, first they need to prioritize hiring locals. So for example, the first priority in Malta are the Maltese people, in the Netherlands, the Dutch people. So now let's focus about Netherlands. For example, application of work permit or hiring process are like this. First, your employer must hire Dutch nationals. So they are the priority. And second will be the second country, meaning to say those countries from European Union country and European Economic Area. So the EEA country, and the Switzerland, the Norway, and the Liechtenstein. So those are the countries, second country, who are prioritized to work here in the Netherlands. So your employer must prioritize those nationals first. And for example, that the employer cannot find any suitable applicants in those country, the locals and the second country, that's the time that they're going to hire third country. So who are the third country? Those are the non-EU people. So those are who requires work permit and those who are not from here. For example, Asian people any other country that is not belong to the EU. So let's talk about Asian, African, Indian, whatever. So those are the third country because of course me myself I'm Asian. So I require a work permit if I'm going to work here. Now, what can my employer do before I can start working in this country? Guys, your employer must prove that they find it so hard for them to hire locals and second country. And of course, the salary offer, they should prove that no locals or no second country are willing to accept the offer. That's why you are going to go into a second step, which is hiring a third country. So after that, they're going to advertise publicly the job vacancy that you're looking for, and then that's the time that when it got approved, and then your employer will gonna process it into the competent authority for the work permit application in your behalf. So only the employer is allowed to process and to apply your work permit because it's only for employers, not agent and not agency. So always remember that, guys. So if someone are willing to hire you, those agencies and agents, and they told you that they are going to process your work permit, then it's not true because only employer can process your work permit. So now, guys, what is needed when your employer will going to apply for your work permit? So the requirement is at least a third country national can have 3 years experience on the job that he is applying for. So if you're applying for a factory job, at least you must have a 3 years experience in the factory job. Also some consideration that 3 years work permit is not needed when applying for a work permit. So how this works? Now I'm going to explain you how you can apply without 3 years experience. So, but first we have to focus with 3 years experience. Now, this 3 years experience, you need a valid employment certificate or employment contract from your previous work experience for at least 3 years. And then the authority will going to validate or check. They will do a background check about your work experience if it is legit or if it is true. So how they can do that? You will going to submit your employment certificate, and it must have there the email address and contact number of your previous work experience, and they are going to check it, and they're going to call it, or they are going to send an email. And this authority, they require a fast reply from your company, and if they say yes, they confirm that you are employed there for 3 years, and they will gonna approve your work permit. Now, there are also employers who doesn't need 3 years experience. So how does it work? Now, if your employer will gonna provide a training and they will gonna make a certificate that you don't need a 3 years experience because they have to provide a training for you, then yes, it's acceptable as long as your employer in any other EU country will have issue, or they will going to issue a certificate or letter in that authority who process your work permit that you don't need a work experience, that they are going to provide you a training to start on your work. Also, you need your resume and also your cover letter. These are the very important things you need to consider if you are applying a job in any EU country. You need a very good cover letter, and also you need a nice resume. So there is like a standard resume that you're going to use within the EU. So that's what we call the Europass resume. So I will going to make a link. So if you want, guys, to have your resume and cover letter, so just read on the description below. Processing of work permit by the employer is takes a lot of time. It will gonna process by the competent authorities in that country. So for example, in the Netherlands, the IND will going to handle your application. In Malta, Identity Malta will going to handle your application. So guys, here in the Netherlands, IND will going to process and check and of course approve the application of your work permit. So there are so many stakeholders when it comes to processing of your work permit. Who are those stakeholders? For example, one of that is the police department. Second is the Ministry of Labor. Third is, for example, the tax company and the work permit company, something like that. They are going to assess one by one your application. So that's what they call stakeholders. They are really big part of processing your work permit. So if all these stakeholders agree that you are qualified for a work permit and that your employer will gonna hire you, that they are allowed to hire you instead of locals and EU nationals, so yes, your approval will gonna be okay. So they are going to approve your work permit application submitted by your employer. So now once your work permit has been considered and approved, you're going to receive a letter. So that's what we call principal approval letter. So what is inside the principal approval letter? So it says there that you can take up your employment in the Netherlands or example in Malta, and that first you have to acquire your employment visa. So when you get your employment visa, that's the time that you can go to VFS Global. Only VFS Global, guys. So when it comes to the Netherlands, you don't need VFS Global for long stay because the Netherlands, we have a so-called visa like MVV visa that is for long stay. So MVV study, MVV family, and MVV employment. So those are the three kinds of long stay in visa. So MVV visa, you can apply it into your Dutch embassy into your country. So you don't need to go in VFS Global. You can go directly, make an appointment in Dutch embassy in your own country. So the VFS Global for the Netherlands, they only accept for short-term visa like tourist visa, leisure, something like that. But for long stay, under MVV, that is category D, you can apply directly in Dutch embassy in your own country. So that's the difference, guys. In Malta, you need to go to VFS Global. And of course, nowadays, you need to get a confirmation in Malta Embassy in Beijing. But for the Netherlands, you don't need to go in VFS Global for MVB. Go directly to Dutch Embassy. So that's how you can apply for your work permit in the Netherlands, guys. Now, there is like a new rule that usually the residence permit under employment visa or employment permit is only 1 year. Also in Malta, it's also 1 year, and you have to renew it every year. But now, there is a new rule that is starting January 2022. Instead of 1 year, it will become 3 years now here in the Netherlands. But I'm not sure into the other EU country if also 3 years. So I read that in article in IND website that the residence permit for employment permit now is 3 years instead of 1 year. Yes, guys, in the Netherlands, when you get your visa through VFS Global or through Dutch Embassy, you can fly, and once you arrive in the Netherlands, the step are you going to make appointment into authorities. For example, TB tests, you have to register at the municipality, you have to take your employment health insurance. So those are the requirements that you're going to do when you arrive here in the Netherlands for employment. And it's really different, guys, because in Malta, the registration in the municipality is already done in your ID card. So you just need to go there to get your social security, and that's also your registration. So here it's really different because first you have to make appointment to your local municipality to get your BSN, that's what we call the social security, and you have to register at the same time. And after that, you have to take your employment health insurance, which has you have to pay for like every month. So the insurance, I'm going also to make another video, guys, about Malta insurance versus Netherlands insurance. What are the difference? Okay, guys, so I hope I give you information about application of work permit in the Netherlands. And on my next video, I'm going to show you how to apply job in the Netherlands. So now at least you know how you can apply for your work permit once you get a job in the Netherlands. Now, the next video will gonna be like, then how can we apply for a job? So I will going to make a separate video, guys, about that on my next vlog. So that's all for today's vlog, and I hope you like this video. And of course, if you like this vlog, kindly please like and share to all your friends. Like I'm always saying, guys, please help me to share my old vlogs so that more vlogs to come and more update about employment in Europe. So that's all for today's, and thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you again next time. Bye.